Hey there, and welcome back to Tip Talks Cooking. Today, we are talking steak au poivre. You heard me right, steak au poivre. And if you didn't understand it, it's because it means pepper steak in French. And in fact, it's a steak that's coated with crushed peppercorns and served up in a cognac and cream sauce that you are just not going to believe. It's really very simple, very delicious, and I'm ready to get this started for lunch. So tell you what, how about we get to it? Here's what you'll need to create this classic French bistro dish. You're going to need 2 strip steaks or other steaks that you like. You could use ribeyes or filet mignon, really any cut of steak that you like. These are about a ½ an inch thick. They were kind of discount steaks that I got. They're going to make a really excellent lunch though, or dinner actually, but we're going to have them for lunch today. Here I've got a 1/4 cup of whole black peppercorns that we're going to crush. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And this will be the coating for the steak, as well as a little bit of kosher salt. This is a 1/3 cup of cognac. You want a cognac that you like to drink. Don't buy the cheapest cognac. You don't really need the most expensive cognac either, by the way, but this is really the major flavoring element in our sauce. We're also going to use a cup of heavy whipping cream here. That's maybe just a little bit more than a cup, but a cup and a 1/4 of heavy whipping cream. You're going to need some vegetable of some sort. This is extra virgin olive oil. Of course, you can coarsely grind the pepper, just very, very coarsely in a spice grinder. Really, I think the better way to do it is to crack it. And let me show you how to do it. I'm going to take just some of the peppercorns, and you got to be careful when you do this, or they roll all over the place. And you want to take a heavy bottom skillet or something like it, and you're just going to crush them carefully. Here, well, more or less carefully. Because what we really don't want here is powdered or completely ground pepper. We want big chunks of those whole peppercorns in there. And I'm just going to continue to do that until I'm done. But I can tell you something right now. The fragrance of these peppercorns is already just really wafting up out of there. It's delicious. These are going to be great steaks. Okay, and here's our 1/4 cup of whole peppercorns that I've crushed really very, very coarsely here. And let me just zoom in on that a little bit so you can see the texture a little more clearly. That's what we're talking about. Some of them are just cracked in half. There might be the odd whole one down there. That's okay. Next, we're going to coat our steaks with them. Now I've just salted each side of the steak with kosher salt. And here I'm just going to simply, it's just like breading it, just going to lay it right on there. Pick up as many peppercorns as I can. And I know many of you are probably thinking, oh my God, really? That many peppercorns? This is delicious. Trust me. Do not be afraid of the pepper steak. I want to make sure we get it nicely coated. We'll put it over here to the side. We'll do that with the remaining steak. Nothing to it, as you can see, and we just pile it up where we have to. I want to make sure again we get a nice coating. I don't want to throw any of this pepper away. And of course, you know that you could never use this pepper on anything. You want to throw it away. This is now contaminated with a bunch of bacteria from raw meat, and you do not want that in other food that you're going to make or serve. Okay, and you know what? You can also pick them up, just sort of stick them on there, just like that, right? They're going to fall off, some of them anyway, in the frying process and end up in the sauce, as you will see. I'm going to remove this to a platter, and now it's time to get cooking. My skillet's been heating up over medium-high heat now for about 3 minutes. I'm going to put in about a 1/4 cup, that's 4 tablespoons or so, of olive oil. I'm going to let that heat up until it gets nice and hot. Now, right, another thing you may be thinking here after watching me coat the steak with so much pepper is, that's so much oil. Actually, you want that here because we're going to use this. The peppercorns are going to fry up in there. See, and now it's starting to smoke. That's really exactly the temperature we want. And I'm going to get our steaks in there. And there's that sizzle. And you can see there's only a little oil in the bottom of the pan. It's really nothing dramatic. But we want that. I'm actually going to put the rest of the peppercorns in there. I'm going to fry this for at least 2 minutes on a side. These are pretty thin, and I want to serve them medium rare, so I'm not going to overdo it. If they were thicker, if these were about 1 inch thick, I think maybe 3 to 5 minutes over pretty high heat on each side. But here it's really only going to take a few minutes, and I'll be turning them over when that's ready. It's now been about 2 minutes. Let's see if we're ready to turn them over. My timer I set so I don't forget. You ever get a little color on that side? It's great. Flip them both over. Yeah, look at that. That's getting a nice crust on it. Let these go for about 2 more minutes. Okay, and there's my timer for 2 minutes exactly. I'm going to remove these to a platter and continue with my recipe. I'm going to turn the heat off here for just a moment. Okay, next I want to drain the oil from the pan without losing any peppercorns, at least as much of that as possible, because we don't want all of that in our sauce. I'm not going to scrape the pan, we're just going to get rid of this excess oil. And now I'm going to wipe up the lip of that pan right there. And I'm going to heat it back up, return the steaks to it, and we're going to start up our sauce. Here I've returned the steaks to the pan. You can see it's nice and hot and sizzling. And the next thing you want to do is add this cognac in. This is again a 1/3 cup of cognac. Sometimes if your pan is hot enough, it will just burst into flames. If not, we're going to do that here. Wow! Anyway, there we go. Always fun. Too bad it's not darker for that. We're going to let the flames die down now. And when they do, we're going to remove the steaks. And it really will die down in just a second. We're going to remove the steaks, and then we're going to make our sauce. And now, as you can see, the final embers of the flames are starting to die down, and we can start to make our sauce. So, like I said, what we're going to do is remove the steaks first. I'm going to turn the heat down to a kind of a medium. Aren't those beautiful, though? Okay. They'll be back. They'll be back soon enough. Basically, all we have to do here now is add the cream and let the sauce reduce to a coating consistency. And that's just basically the thickness of the sauce that we want. Get a whisk. And you'll see that it's actually already starting to bubble over here on the sides. We're going to stir that in. Look at the beautiful color it's turning from all the fond from the steak, and of course the peppercorns that are in there. This is just one of my favorite sauces in the world, I gotta say. And you've seen how easy it is. I mean, other than the risk of setting your house on fire when you flambe the steaks, really, this is such an easy to make dish, and there's absolutely no reason that you should have to actually go to the Boulevard Saint-Germain-des-Prés and sit in a bistro and pay the outrageous prices you'll pay there for a little steak with some peppercorn and cream sauce on it. I'm going to continue to stir this until it thickens up. There's absolutely no reason you need to watch that, so I'm going to cut this off and we'll be back when the sauce is thickened. Okay, now here's what I mean by a coating consistency. Look, you can see how this is reduced very nicely in the pan. You can also see how when I move it around, it doesn't come back together immediately. It kind of slowly flows back together. Now, to see if our sauce is thick enough, or thick enough to be what we want it to be here, I'm going to coat my spatula with it, and then I'm just going to quickly run my finger down it. Notice the break in it is clean. These two parts don't start running together. It's not dripping too much off the spatula. I think that's about the thickness we want. We're going to stop there. Oh, but before we give up the ship, I'm going to add just a little splash of cognac in there to refresh the flavor. See how that bubbles right up? There's the whisk. Here we go. Just stir that in there. And of course, we're going to let the alcohol cook out. Oh, that's just going to be lovely on our steaks. It's time to plate this up and taste it. Just thought I'd show you how I plate this up real quick. Now, of course, in a bistro, anywhere in France, I think you'd probably be crazy not to eat this with a pile of some French fries. Of course, they just call them fries, des frites. Here, since I'm on the keto diet, potatoes are really not something that I want to add into my diet. They have way too many carbohydrates. So I'm just going to serve it with some green beans. Nice combination with this steak, actually. I'm going to cover it with that sauce. Generously, why not? I'm not saving it. Lovely. By the way, I did taste it for seasoning before I served it, just so you know. Now it's time to give it a taste. Well, all right, let's check it out here. Man, this is one of my favorite dishes. I really love it. This sauce is so nice. This is a great way to cook and serve a steak. Mmm. 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 The peppercorns, they're really not overwhelming. They're just delicious and spicy and explosive in this just luxurious, delicious cognac and cream sauce. You're just not going to believe this. Like I said, I bought these steaks. I think these cost me about $2.50 a piece or something like that. A really great bargain. And so I'm having a great Parisian bistro meal for under about $3 here with a few green beans. It's delicious. To that I say, chin chin. And thanks for watching today. Listen, I hope you'll subscribe, like, comment, share, all of that good stuff. But I really appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time on Tim Talks.